Good morning. I'm Santa Clara Mayor Lisa Gillmor. On behalf of the City Council, it's my honor to announce that June is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ plus Pride Month. With me today, I would like to acknowledge Vice Mayor Raj Chahal, Councilmember Kathy Watanabe, Councilmember Suds Jane, Councilmember Karen Hardy, and Councilmember Anthony Becker. Also here with us today are Chief of Police Pat Nikolai and Fire Chief Ruben Torres. We are gathered here today to recognize the month of June as LGBTQ plus Pride Month. Pride Month celebrates LGBTQ plus culture and pride and commemorates the Stonewall riots that forever changed the course of modern LGBTQ plus social movements. LGBTQ plus Pride Month is celebrated each year in the month of June to honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan. The Stonewall riots in New York City on June 28, 1969 was a historic turning point that sparked the LGBTQ plus civil rights movement. LGBTQ plus pride marches and celebrations have been held every year in June across the United States in recognition of those Stonewall riots. Furthermore, on November 13, 2012, the City of Santa Clara adopted Ordinance Number 1899 to protect and safeguard the right and opportunity of all people to be free from all forms of arbitrary discrimination, including discrimination based on age, race, color, creed, religion, national origin, ancestry, disability, marital status, sex, gender identity, and sexual orientation. And we want to thank our council member, Jamie McLeod, for championing that effort on behalf of the City of Santa Clara. During LGBTQ plus Pride Month, let us remember that our country was founded on a set of ideals, that we are all equal, that we all deserve equal opportunity, and that we are free to pursue happiness in our lives. The movement for equality has come incredibly far, and we have made great strides toward achieving full equality. I would like to now ask our Chief of Police, Pat Nikolai, to join me at the podium to say just a few words. Chief Nikolai.
Thank you, Mayor. The Santa Clara Police Department stands with our LGBTQ community. Victimizing someone because of their sexual orientation is just as serious as any other hate crime, and the Santa Clara Police Department will thoroughly investigate and prosecute any incident. Santa Clara is an all-inclusive community. That is why I'm proud to be working with the DEI Task Force, because I want to make sure that what we are doing is inclusive, not just in our words, but in our actions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Nikolai. Now I'd like to invite my fellow council members to gather around the flagstaff behind me here at City Hall for the raising of the rainbow flag, which is a symbol of LGBTQ plus pride and community. We would also now be honored for this year's ceremonial flag raisers, Councilmember Anthony Becker and our special guest, Gabrielle Antolovich, president of the DeFrank LGBTQ plus Community Center. Gabrielle? So we'd like to ask you to do us the honor of raising our pride flag over the city of Santa Clara.
Let's go up!
It has to go up. Woo!
Yay!
Come on, let's go. Pretend like you're working. Let's go.
There we go.
All right. So it gives me great pleasure to invite Gabrielle Antolovich to the podium to speak about the importance of Pride Month. Gabrielle?
Thank you, Mayor Gillmor, City Council Chief and Fire Chief and everybody else who's here. Santa Clara is a wonderful city. This last year has been a very difficult year. I want to say that the recent shootings that we have had locally and elsewhere has really thrown many of us who are in a situation of leadership. What do we do about that? The Billy DeFrank LGBTQ plus Community Center is 100% volunteer run, including me. And 3 of our volunteers work for the VTA. And so we've been supporting them through the trauma. And also, when COVID first hit and the first responders were overworked, several of our volunteers are nurses and 2 of them are doctors, and we supported them through their personal lives, making sure that their relationships survived the trauma of the work that they had to do. So the Billy DeFrank Center has done more than what you see when it really comes down to being a community center. We had to shut down, and we are still closed. We are still active in the community. Because of the emboldenedness of hate, the graffiti people were really vicious during COVID. So our council member, Dev Davis, gave us funding for murals on our, what seems really funny in some ways, our dumpster walls were the target of hate graffiti, and so was our large electrical box. And we've been able to put loving representation of our entire community. The LGBTQ plus looks beautiful in our parking lot. We even painted the concrete blocks that stop the cars going further rainbow colors so that outside is as beautiful as the inside you can't go in yet. And so it has been a difficult time. You know, we've had to put little fences around the building to stop the building from being attacked. Because during COVID, people were at home, the home robberies went down, but business robberies and break-ins went up. And so I've been at the Billy DeFrank Center 7 days a week, protecting the building. And when we had that big pouring rain that happened, the weeds came up this high and made our building look like we were an abandoned building. And I'm so grateful for our volunteers that came every weekend to weed the beds so that we would look like we are still alive and well. And I have to say that the volunteers have kept working hard with us remotely. And so I am really proud of our community center. We miss everyone that comes. We normally have over 1,000 people that come through the center every week. Can you imagine me as a extrovert? I am missing everyone. Are you kidding me? And as we open up now, I am so heartened that everyone is now coming together to really begin to heal so many things. We had a trans woman of color that was murdered locally, and we were there at the vigil, mourning with their family and our entire community. You know, there has been so much tragedy and yet so much love for each other. And I am really heartened that despite everything, and I have to say personally, You know, the vaccine has messed with my body. Last night, I felt like my body could not move one more inch, and I was afraid I would not make it here today. But I woke up perky because I knew what was going to happen here. So I am grateful for Santa Clara City and Mayor Gillmor for making this a tiny celebration in the universe of mixed messages. You know, there are so many mixed messages of hate, not just for the LGBTQ plus community, but people of color, indigenous people. You know, it's been a horrific year of stuff coming up. But at the same time, where there is hate, there is great love. And I want to be in the center of where the love is that has far more power. And I thank you for being part of the love.
Thank you, Gabrielle. We're so glad you woke up this morning, perky as always, positive, full of love, and coming to the city of Santa Clara. You've been with us for the last 5 years. This is our 5th year raising the pride flag over the city of Santa Clara. So you are now part of our tradition here in the city. And we can't have any of these without you, so you better be ready for years to come. But we appreciate your leadership, your thoughtfulness, and really bringing your positive energy after a year of negativity. This is what we need. We need to be together. We need people. I agree with you. We need to be around people, and we need love. We need love in our communities and love in our cities, love for everybody. So thank you for bringing that positive message to the city of Santa Clara. We appreciate it. So next, I have another special flag raiser guest this year. Up to say a few words, it gives me a pleasure to invite my colleague and fellow council member Anthony Becker to share some of his remarks to close out today's event. So Anthony, when you're ready.
Okay, good morning, my fellow Santa Clarans, distinguished guests, those that are viewing home, Gabrielle Antolovich from the Billy DeFrank Center, former council member and a member from the Silicon Valley Stonewall Democrats group. This is a tremendous honor to stand here with my colleagues. I thank Mayor Gillmor, Vice Mayor Hall, council members Jane, Watanabe, Hardy, for being here, part of this pride flag raising ceremony with me today. I've known all of you for a long time, so this is truly a bittersweet for all of us to do this together like a family. 5 years ago, Mayor Gillmor and former Councilmember Caserta initiated this new Santa Clara tradition that will continue to grow every year. Pride was born not to celebrate being gay, queer, trans, or bi. Pride was born for the right for us to exist without persecution. The right for me to be me, the right for you to be you, and the right for us to be us. Growing up, I knew who I was. By the time I was a teenager, these feelings were hard to hide. I was closeted because back then, it still wasn't as acceptable as it is today to be out. I was bullied, I was picked on, I was called every derogatory gay slur you can think of. I grew a thick skin, grew a passion in me, and I rose above it, and I rose above the hate. After graduating high school, things changed. My fear of coming out was tough, and to be honest, it was scary. I told everyone, but to many, they said it was no surprise. Yet the hardest person telling was my father. As scared as I was, he was loving as can be. He gave his blessing, and he was my first ally. There were other role models out there that paved the way for me and future generations. I looked up to Harvey Milk, who was the first openly gay elected person in the nation 43 years ago, before I was born. I looked up to local LGBTQ legends like former Santa Clara County Supervisor and San Jose Council member Ken Yeager, as well as former Campbell Mayor and current Assembly member Evan Lowe. I never thought I could achieve what maybe they have accomplished in the LGBTQ plus community. They are still my moral compass. But locally, here in 2004, Santa Clara elected Jamie McLeod to the Santa Clara City Council as the first openly LGBTQ+ member to serve. A few years later, in 2008, I was going to Mission College, bussing tables at a restaurant, and I had just seen the movie Milk. I attended my very first council meeting. That night, I shook hands with Joe Cordner and Jamie McLeod. Felt like I was shaking hands with the President of the United States. This began my journey to share this moment with all of you. I want to dedicate this moment to former council member Jamie McLeod, as she was never able to be a part of a pride flag raising ceremony, as I am able to do so today. Thank you for Jamie for your inspiration and your service. As we celebrate Pride, there are still significant challenges ahead for the LGBTQ plus community. From the homelessness, to the rise of hate across this nation, to addiction, to mental health, and to LGBTQ plus seniors who end up alone and in isolation. As a community, we are tackling these issues on the county level and at the city level. A year ago, our city introduced the Task Force for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, which aims to tackle issues like these. While a couple weeks ago, my colleagues and I, we were all there for the grand opening of the Covenant House, which replaced the old Western Hope Motel on El Camino. This is a safe place for homeless and runaway youth, where a majority of those youth identify as LGBTQ+. To this day, kids are still being kicked out of their homes or forced to run away because of how they choose to identify. The last year and a half have been challenging, from the pandemic to the hate that is rooted in this nation. We are living in a moment of great changes, but still struggle with racism, homophobia, transphobia, and violence. We are living in times where it is more important to worry about how to pay your rent than it is to worry about your civil rights. Nothing is new. We have been fighting hate for decades and been championing progress. In the lyrics of Stevie Wonder, many of us are living in a pastime paradise. He sings, they've been spending most of their lives living in a pastime paradise. They've been wasting most of their time glorifying days long gone behind. They've been wasting most of their days in remembrance of ignorance and oldest praise. Let's start living our lives. Start living for the future. Do not give the past the power to define the future. Our freedom of choice is our freedom to use our voice, our freedom to make some noise. So let us rejoice, my friends, my community, to celebrate this month of Pride with care, love, kindness, and hope. As we have raised this flag today, let us never stop reaching for that rainbow. Thank you, and thank you to the City of Santa Clara and everyone watching.
Thank you, Anthony, especially for your recognition of former Councilmember Jamie McLeod and your also recognition of Councilmember Teresa O'Neill, but also for your heartfelt comments and your own personal experiences. We do appreciate you sharing those with us, and we appreciate everybody coming today and sharing with us the raising of the Pride flag here in the City of Santa Clara, and especially to our special guest, Gabrielle Antolovich. Thank you very much, and the chiefs and the City Council. And with that, have a wonderful, prideful day. Thank you.
That didn't sound right.